So, students, today we have a topic closure of the functional dependencies. Now, functional dependencies we have seen. Functional dependencies saying to us when we have the many attributes, and if there is some relationship we need to show between the some attributes, then functional dependency is an important concept. And types of the functional dependencies we have already seen in detailed manner. Yesterday we have seen properly. The closure of the functional dependency is saying to us what are the attributes we are using to make the relationship, and it tell us the dependencies between the attributes. Just like example, date of birth we know. So date of birth can be depend on the student name. So if there is no student details available inside our relation, so date of birth there will be no sense. But if this information are available, so it could be dependent. Something we can also do is is in another factor or another attribute that can also depend on the date of birth attribute. So that is the important thing we have to keep in mind. So by the some mathematical concept, we will see this concept properly. So closure of the function dependency means we are talking about the what are the possible outcomes that belong to the function dependencies from the relation. So number of the function dependencies we can generate and from our given relation that is under come into the closure of the function dependency. So let us explore each and every word properly, and which is showing to over here closure of the functional dependencies property. First, I would like to tell something over here from this slide. In this slide, what I have given, I have as initial level, I am sharing this question right now. So we will try to understand our concept by seeing this question. This question is saying to us the closure of a set of the functional dependencies. So please focus on the my words, what I'm speaking, because today class is more important where we have the three different concepts. And each and every concept has own different meanings. So once you are missing and once you are skipping, nothing will be clear to you. So to avoid your confusion, so listen properly. So closure of a set of the functional dependency is saying to us we have a relation R, A, B, C, G, H, I. A, B, C, G, H, I. These are the different attributes, six different attributes. And some set of the function dependencies given to us. Those are the A determinant to B, A determinant to C, CG determinant to H, and CG determinant to I, and B determinant to H. So what is the question we have to prove over here? We have to prove A determinant to H will be possible or not. So you have to prove, and that is to be identified by the logically implied. So this logical implication can be done by in simple way, but before that, you people are required to understand: is it possible or not? Yes, of course, it is possible. So functional dependency based problem we can solve by using the some axioms or some rules, and those axioms or rules you know very well: transitivity, reflexivity, and augmentation. Before asking the any question, so let me clear to all the fundamental concept properly. So this is the question we will try to understand properly. So let me explain the thing properly. Here we have a next slide. In this slide, what we have a some theory point, but this theory point we can understand in concise way. Listen carefully. Let F be a set of the function dependencies. Now, what is this sense? Yes. So I can use some highlighter to explain my concept properly. So what I'm explaining, let F be a set of the functional dependencies. So if I'm writing here, if I'm assuming or I'm just marking the F is be a set of the functional dependencies. So what is the sense of this one? It means these are the some FDs which are given, and these FDs are undercoming to a set of the functional dependencies, and this can be recognized by a notation. So we can using notation that is simple F. Okay, so this F is saying to us means this F is a set of the functional dependencies. Now let me know this point is clear. Step by step I will speak and I will ask. Is it clear to all right now? F means set of the functional dependency. Is it clear? Tell me right now. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now, after this point, what we have written, the closure of the F, the closure, the word we have to pick carefully, the closure of the F is a set of, the closure of the F is a set of the all the functional dependencies logically implied by F. This is the key terms we have to keep in mind properly. The closure of the F is a set of the all functional dependency logically implied by F. And if we need to use the closure to determine from the F, then the notation will be F plus. This plus symbol will be represented by the superscript. Okay, so F plus, that is a closure of the F, we will try to calculate or compute from the set of the function dependency, that is the F. This is the key point we have to keep in mind. Now, this statement is clear to all. F is our set of the function dependencies, and we have to compute the F plus, that is the closure of the F, or we can say the closure of the F functional dependency, and that is identified by the F plus this symbol. Now, is it clear to all right now? Is it clear? The statement should be clear properly. Just tell me right now, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So given F means, given F is saying to us set of the functional dependencies. The words you have to listen carefully. Given F means set of the functional dependencies, and we can compute F plus. This F plus means what we are saying, closure of the function dependencies. So we are known to this point right now. There will be no issue, and it can directly generate it from the our function dependency definitions, and we can also apply the some axioms. These axioms also known as the rules, and here we will introduce the Armstrong axiom, as we have seen in the our basic mathematics. What are the axiom and what are the Armstrong axiom? So I will give you some scratch idea about the Armstrong axioms. Don't worry. Let me complete this statement right now. If f were large, this is a big point we have to keep in mind while solving the problem. It means we have the set of the functional dependency in large volume. So definitely our computation or our calculation will be lengthy because we are not having the limited number of the functional dependencies. So suppose we have the 10 to 20 functional dependencies set. Then at that moment we have to check the condition, check the possibilities between each and every functional dependencies. Then what happens? It takes much time. So when we have the F but in the large size, so definitely the process for the computing the F closure will take much time. So this process would be lengthy and difficulty because once you are missing the steps, your answer may little bit disturb. So it is better idea to choose the minimum number of the function dependency, but it is not in our hand. It is given into the question. So based on the question, we have to solve. So in the examination, I will like to use only the uh, 5 to 6 maximum set of the function dependencies because it is required too many time to solve the problem. So after understanding this point, if you try to get the our solution as it's saying to us, you must be proved that a determinant to H is applicable or not from the our given set of the function dependencies, and that we have to prove. And this is a simple concept from which we need to understand the some important term. So now we have understand the question, we have understand the problem. So before solving anything, let us understand the first question, what we are asking by the question. So now we have cleared the question, we have understood the question, what we have to explain, what we have to do. So after understanding this point, let me explain some more terms which are related to our problems only. So first technique, or we can see the first technique of what is the first method you would like to use. Again, you should have a question, sir, why you are using the method? Because in the function dependencies, we can't say that any method is available, no algorithm will be applicable. Yes, for solving or determining the function dependencies, we have to use only your brain or logic to solve the problem, but there is no specific algorithm. But here I'm speaking here, there are some approaches we have to use to solve the problem. So what are the approaches? We can use the three axioms or rules. And what are the three axioms? We have already studied yesterday as well as the previous classes. You know to all these points. What are those axioms? Reflexive, augmentation, transitivity. So this is the point we have to keep in mind. There are three different rules. These are under coming to the Armstrong axioms rules. So reflexive augmentation transitivity we can use to solve our problem. In this case, there is some point which is mentioned over here. So suppose we are using three different symbols and those are known as alpha, beta, gamma. Okay, so this is the point you have to keep in mind. So three different symbols we are using alpha, beta, gamma as representing the attributes or set of the attributes. And in this case, you can apply any one of the Boolean algebra operation or relation operation over here. But by solving the problem based on the functional dependencies or finding the closure of the functional dependency or closure of the attribute or set of the attributes, at a time we have to take care of all the things properly. So if you remember the some rules and axioms, those are recognized by the Armstrong's axiom. These Armstrong axioms can be applied on the our basic mathematics as we have seen in the Boolean algebra. If you remember the my words, if you're remembering the some mathematical concept. So at a time while solving the problem, we can use such thing properly. And at a time we can also introduce some other operations as well as the intersection, union, and Cartesian product or other operations we can also use. But in the case of the finding the closure, we will not use such kind of the approaches. We will use only the simple concept to solve the problem, and that is to be followed by the my words. That is the your brain and your logic will solve this problem. So this is the concept we have seen. So I'm repeating once again. If alpha is a set of the attribute, if alpha is a set of the attribute, so beta is a subset of the alpha, then we can say beta will be depend on the alpha or alpha determinant to beta and its hold the property of the reflexive rule. Am I right? We have discussed the same thing or not? Just let me know right now. Is it true or not? If alpha is a set of the attribute, then beta will be the subset of the alpha. Then alpha determinant to beta will be possible as a true condition. Is it true or not? Am I right or not? So this is considered into the reflexive rule. Say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So inspired from the reflexive rule, so we have seen the augmentation rule. So in the alpha tends to alpha applied to the beta or because alpha determinant to the beta, we have and gamma is the additional set of the attribute. If we are adding this gamma to add the both end, so what we are doing, we are pulling the augmentation rule. Is it clear to all right now? Is it clear? Is it clear? So this would be recognized by the augmentation rule. Now clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so transitivity rule, no need to define again. So just I'm summarizing this point by just explaining why this statement in simple way. Alpha determinant to beta and beta determinant to gamma. So definitely without any problem, by applying the transitive rules, we can say alpha determinant to gamma will be, it means gamma will depend on the alpha. And all these are intercoming to the axioms, and this axioms is known as the Armstrong axiom. I hope some of the students are remembering this concept, Armstrong axiom. I hope you have been studying all these points. Okay, so this is a point we have to keep in mind. Yes, it is clear to all right now. It is clear. Okay, thank you. So next we have a term that point we have to keep in mind. The closure of the set. This is a key term we have to keep in mind. Closure of the set of the functional dependencies if we have. This can be written by in simple way that can be written like in simple statement that is a f plus. Okay, so this is known as the closure of the set of the functional dependencies can be found from the our given set of the functional dependencies as I'm speaking once again over here, and I have already spoken the statement 2 times. So this is set of the given functional dependency known as the f. So when we need to solve any problem, then if the set of the function dependency is given, then we are able to solve the closure of the function dependencies. And denoted will be of course f plus as we know. And what are the various axioms we can apply? We have seen few minutes ago reflexive, augmentation, and transitive. So with help of the all these things, we can solve the problem. But other than these axioms, we have the other axioms or rules to solve our problem, and that is required to solve the problem. So step by step, we have to understand the thing properly. These are the 6 different axioms. So no need to describe again over here the reflexive rules. So reflexive rules is saying to us, I'm speaking once again more for a betterment. If x is a set of the attribute and y is a subset of the x, so then x determinant 2 will be there, the reflexive. Augmentation rule is saying to us in simple way, you can easily note down from the slide in your mind as well. If x determinant to y, if x determinant to y and z is another set of the attribute, then z is added at the both ends. So we can say we are following the augmentation rules without write out. We can see. If talking about the transitivity rules, so transitivity rules, as we know, if we have the x determinant to y and y determinant to x, so you can easily say if x determinant to y and y determinant to z, so you can easily say z will be differently depend on the x or x will be determinant to z. This condition will hold as a true, and this is the our point. Now, other than these 3 different axioms, we have the other axioms, and we have to keep in mind all these things properly. So now we have the union. So union is an another axiom, and it is required to solve our problem. So let me explain over here. Union. So if I'm having a this function dependency or this thing properly, x determinant to y, this function dependencies, and another function dependency, I'm also having the x determinant to z. So you people are required to keep in mind Z should be common at the both end. Common means Z should be, if I'm having a x here on the left side, then on the left side x should be. So the point we are observing over here, y and z, which are coming on the right side of the x, both are individually we are having over here. So this can be done by the union operation. So x determinant to yz. So yz, what they are doing, they are following the union operation implicitly over here. But keep in mind, both y and z cannot be on the other end. So this is the point we have to keep in mind. Union rule will be done properly. Next, we have the decomposition rule. This is most important point we have to keep in mind, but this is just reverse of the union. You can note down the slide. If x determinant to yz we have, so we can also use the decomposition rule. We can also use the decomposition rule to decompose the attributes. So we can see. So we can say indirectly or directly, it is just reverse of the union rule. Okay. And last one, we have the pseudo-transitivity rule. Pseudo-transitivity rule is a new axiom, and it requires sometimes whatever the problem we have, so we can use. After applying the pseudo-transitivity rules, if it is possible or not, so let us understand this. This rule is a totally different rules for explaining purpose. So the point we have to keep in mind, if x determinant to y is given, so please keep in mind properly. If x determinant to y and please focus on the word y z is determinant to a, then x z determinant to a will be possible. So this can also be true. Okay. Let me explain how we are getting all these things properly. For explaining purpose, I am speaking only. For explaining purpose, I am speaking, but that is not real. So z determinant to y. We have this point z determinant to y. We have zy determinant to a. These are the two in function dependencies are given. This is the one, and this is second. So after getting the result, we are getting the this thing that is the x determinant to a. So question is saying to us how we are getting. We are getting the simple thing properly. So if I'm writing the here x determinant to y, we can take right. Z y is given here. Now, so I'm not you applying the union rule. Union rule will be applicable when the single attribute or the multiple attribute can be on the left hand, but that should be common. So we are observing here we have the two different type of the attributes. So the thing we have to keep in mind properly. Let me write correctly. So this is given in our question. By using my brain and by using my logic idea, if I'm trying to break this statement, I'm not following any rule, but I'm using my brain to determine the thing. Can we write like this one for understanding purpose? Yes, of course we can write for understanding purpose, nothing special. But for the solving the problem, you are not allowed to do so because you are not following the any rule. So this is just you are using the only your brain logic for understanding purpose only. Okay. How this information is coming. Okay. You are using only the brain logic, nothing is special over here. So from this perspective, you will able to see if I'm using this one and this one. Okay, I'm marking by this one and this one. Then you will able to see by transitivity, you can say X determinant A will be. Just tell me right now, is it possible? Just tell me, is it possible? X determinant to A is possible because while applying the transitivity between the this one and this one. Is it true? Okay. Okay. So if I'm choosing this dependencies and the newly computed dependencies over here, so I'm marking by arrow symbol. You can see. So you can say on the right side we have the common. So I can write the xz determinant to. So this is the reason the pseudo transitivity is working like this one. That was my point. So except determinant to A, how we are getting, I have explained the pseudo transitivity rule. So we are applying the transitivity inside implicitly. So in this case, if we have any condition where the x determinant to y and z y determinant to A we have, so we can also use x z determinant to A while applying the pseudo transitivity rule. So if we stuck in any problem to determine the function dependencies, so we can use such thing properly. Okay, but I have been observed so many times pseudo transitivity rule is not much applicable because it's much applicable, but it is not much usable while solving the problem. Most of the problem can solve the reflexive augmentation, transitivity, and unit and decomposition. But we have to keep in mind how we can solve this problem. If there's some certain some chance is coming to solve the problem by using a pseudo transitivity rule. Okay, so now this is clear to all right now. Tell me, this is clear to all so far? Yes, tell me. Any problem so far you are having? So please, you can ask me right now. Yes, tell me if you have any problem so far.
Clear, sir.
Okay. So this slide is not added previously inside my lecture, but I am including over here for explaining the concept. This is the key terms you have to keep in mind while solving the problem. F plus is saying to us this is a closure of the F. Please focus on the word. F plus is saying to us we're trying to compute the closure of the F. F contains the list of the FDs or set of the FDs. So in the F closure, what we will keep as a result, we will keep the list of the various FDs. That is the point. This is the first point. Second point, I'm coming. Before coming on the second point, just let me inform you all once again over here. If there is a relation R and it contains the three different attributes A, B, C. Okay, so focus on the my words. If there are three different attributes in a relation R. So instead of the F plus, if I'm writing A plus, B plus, and C plus something, I can write any one of the things, but I'm writing three like this one. You can write any one of the attributes. It's a choice. So what we are doing, we are not following the closure of the functional dependencies. We are following the closure of the attribute. Okay, so this is known as the closure of an attribute or closure of the attributes. Now this term is clear. Second one is clear. There is a little bit difference between the closure of the functional dependencies and closure of the attributes. Is it clear to all right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I'm writing the A determinant to AC plus inside the bracket and BC plus, or I can write the AB plus. So here what I'm doing, I'm choosing the multiple attributes over here, and I need to find the closure of the this more than two or more than two attributes closure, and it is known as the closure of the set of the attributes. Closure of the set of the attributes. This is the term we have to keep in mind, and this is known as the closure of the set of the attribute, or this is known as the closure of attribute sets. Okay, so this is the term we have to keep in mind while solving the problem. So in the examination, I can ask the question, I can share some functional dependencies, and I can ask some notation. So you will be much aware about I'm asking the closure of the functional dependencies, or I'm asking the closure of the attribute, or I'm asking the closure of the set of the attribute. That was my point. Now clear? So these are the three different things we have to keep in mind while solving the any numerical. So before jumping the numerical portion, I need to clarify all these things properly. Now is it clear to all right now? So we have the three different things: closure of the functional dependencies, closure of the attribute, and closure of the set of the attributes, or closure of the set. Now clear?
Yes, sir.
So do not have any kind of the confusions, please. Okay. So before that you have, so you can ask me right now. Now. So what I have mentioned over here, finding f plus. So what I'm expecting, I need to compute the closure of the functional dependencies. Now, is it clear to all right now? Is it clear? The question is clear. Finding the f plus of the given set f of the functional dependencies. That is a, so where we have the f. So f we have the a determinant to bc, c determinant to e, and b determinant to d, and e determinant to a. So we need to find the closure of f, or we can say f plus. Okay, so now clear? Question is clear? Just tell
Yes,
me.
sir.
Okay, so from this point, you people are required to tell me right now if it need to calculate the f plus. This f plus will contain the list of the functional dependencies. Okay, this will not contain the list of the attributes. It will contain the list of the functional dependencies as a outcomes. Now, so by using this given f, you your people are required to solve this problem. Can you solve this problem? Just tell me, can you solve this problem? Are you able to solve this problem? Yes, I need the answer. Else I am
Yes, sir.
here. Okay.
Means what
So
actually we have to do?
yeah, this is a good question I'm asking me. So f is given, that is a given f. F is given. So how many functional dependencies are given in the question? A determinant to BC, C determinant to D, and these are the four functional dependencies are given. Now, and you have to compute f plus. This is a big question we have to keep in mind. It means it is saying to us by applying the some axioms. What are the axioms you want to use? You can use any one of the axioms. You can use them many times in any axiom. So there is no restriction. By applying the axioms, you people are required to tell me what are the possible FDs we can have here. Okay, solve it. Okay, solve it right now. Solve it, or should I explain? Just tell me right now.
So you explain this one, we'll solve another example.
Okay. So I'm telling right now, and I will share some example later on. But let me explain this concept right now. I hope it will be easy to all right now. A determinant to BC. I'm choosing first FD this one. Okay. By applying the
Decomposition.
Yes, yes. By applying the decomposition rule, we can write A determinant to B and A determinant to C. Can I write? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And CD determinant to E, I can't apply the decomposition because decomposition is saying to us only the one single attribute should be at the this one. Or multiple attribute will be, but on the right side, what the decomposition we can do. So there will be no chance. Next, we have the B determinant D. So after seeing the B determinant D, you can able to here. Let me use
Transitive.
yeah. Bilkul, you are on the right track. By choosing this one and this one, you can you can use you can use A determinant D. Can I say?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So now, next we have this point E determinant to A, so there is no chance. But after choosing the C determinant to E and E determinant to, and by applying the transitivity rules, we can see CD determinant to A is possible. Let me know right now, is it possible or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Now tell me more functional dependencies. What are the possible functional dependencies we can generate? Speak.
E determined to B.
E determinant to be, how it is possible?
So A determinant to B and E determinant to A. So E determinant to B.
Yes. So I'm just trying over here. See, just focus on the my uh, line. By applying the transitivity rule, you can able to see the possibility we can have over here. B determinant to E is also possible, or E determinant to A will be possible. So E determinant to B can be possible. Just tell me, is it possible? Say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So from this perspective, you can also observe E determinant to C also possible. And if I'm applying this one, if I'm applying over here the union operation, so E determinant to BC also possible. Just tell me, is it possible? It is possible. And now you can observe over here, so many possibilities are coming over here. So any other possibilities you please speak. Tell me, speak.
Uh, so pseudo transitive may be applied here.
Yes, tell me
A
where.
determinant to C
Okay.
and CD determinant to E. In question it is given.
CD determinant to
So
E, if
A
I'm
so A so AD determinant to E.
so AD
Determinant to E.
while choosing this one and this one by applying the pseudo transitivity. Okay, so this can be also possible. And if I'm choosing the B determinant to D, B determinant to D. So if I'm using the augmentation rule, so I can use the C at the both end. Okay, so I'm getting the new FD from the B determinant D. So this is saying, and by choosing this one and this FD, by combining this thing, so by applying the transitivity rules, I can say BC determinant to E is also possible. Okay, now clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you can observe over here if I'm using A determinant to BC, or if you're not choosing, no issue, but if you're choosing the A determinant to C, and A determinant to B, and A determinant to D. And after choosing this one, you can understand if I'm using these three functional dependencies and I'm using union. So first I'm choosing the A determinant to B and C. So I can say A determinant to BC is also possible. And so after getting this one and using this one or this thing, so I can also get a new functional dependency that can be identified by as A determinant to BCD. Now this is also possible. Tell me, right, is it possible or not? Yes, of course it is possible. So where we can have this kind of the functionality dependency, we can also use. Now clear? Yes, tell me any
Yes,
doubt?
sir.
Yes, tell me any doubt so far, students, please tell me. And after applying this one, E determinant to A and A determinant to BCD, you can easily say, sir, E determinant to BCD is also possible. Just tell me right now. Am I correct or not? So you have to understand the functional dependencies and apply the appropriate rules or algorithms to identify the result in proper way. Now clear? Is it clear to all right now? What do you mean by the functional dependency?
Yes, sir.
So after understanding this point, so you can continue this work at your level. So I'm sharing the solution right now. Read this point. What are the we have option? What we have done? And few things where maybe we have missed out. So after applying the A determinant to BC and B determinant to D, we got our answer A determinant to D by applying the transitive rules. Okay. And after choosing the A determinant to BC and A determinant to AD, and you can observe over here, and also applying this one. So you can see we can also try the A determinant to E. It is also possible. That is by applying the transitive rule. So from the above point, A determinant to A, B, C D is also possible. This is will be done by the reflexive rule internally. So we can say it is also possible. And if I'm choosing the A determinant to A, E determinant to A, and A determinant to A, B, C, D, E. So all the students please listen. This is also possible. A, B, E. So E determinant to E also possible by the reflexive rule, and A, B, C, B, C, D we have already calculated. Okay, B, C, D we have already calculated. See, B, C, D, B, C, D we have already calculated, and by the reflexive rule, E determinant to E also possible. So E determinant to B, C, D, B, C, D, E also possible, and E determinant to A we have already. So by default, we can say E determinant to A, B, C, D is also possible. Just tell me right now, is it possible? Everything is possible. But possible. If possibilities occur, then we can include, else we have to leave. Now, C determinant to E, we can say, and E determinant to A, B, C, D, this functional dependency we are generating. So from this perspective, we can use this point. Okay. Now, after applying the augmentation rule on the B and D, so we can see this can also be stand over here. Yes, of course, it's also possible. So you can continue this process by driving all the possible functional dependencies. Please keep in mind the words possible functional dependencies, and that should justify the thing properly. And so in the what we can write in the F closer of the functional dependencies as an output. So by default, what are the functional dependencies which are coming inside the F default? We have A determinant to BC, so this would be the part of this one. C determinant to E, definitely it will be the part of this one. B determinant to D is already given in the question, so we have to take this point. And E determinant to E, we have already given in the question, so we have to take these four default given FDs as a part of the F closure. But other one we have to write here to why, because this is a calculated computed FDs. So this is the AD, A determinant to E, and A determinant to A, B, C, D. Okay. So BC determinant to CD, and CD determinant to as well. We have the A, B, C, D here. A student can ask a question, sir, you have not included the E determinant to A, B, C, D. E determinant to A, B, C, D, you have not included. Yes, of course, you can include. So all the possible FDs which are available for solving the question, then we can also include that part. E determinant to A, we can say E determinant to C. So where is E determinant to C? If it is not possible, then how we can write? The possibility, if there is some possibility, then we can include. But keep in mind while applying the proper rules, and that is a simple answer. Now clear? This concept is clear right now. How we are getting the thing? Just apply and use. Now it is clear to all right now, or any doubt so far? Just tell me right now. Any problem?
Sir, BC determinant to CD, you are taking C randomly or some
No, no,
relation is there?
no. I am not taking randomly because CD determinant to E is given. That's why I'm adding C. That is the reason. See, in the BD, I'm adding the C because CD is already given at the left side, and that is determinant to another attribute. So that's why we can add only C. I'm not adding the BE. If I'm adding the E at the both ends, so there is no combination CE and BE available. So how I can make the such kind of FD? You have to take. That's why I'm speaking. You have to use a brain or logic to solve the problem. Now clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this question is clear. How to solve the question? Is it clear to all right now? Student, tell me any problem. Yes, tell me yes or
Sir,
no.
sir, the number of relation students will form will maybe vary, sir, from
Yeah,
student to student.
it can vary, but the point we have to keep in mind here, the possible function dependency we can say. So if you are writing A determinant to A determinant to AB, so A determinant to AC. So you people are not required to use all these things again here, because why I'm speaking here, just you are on the right track. In the A determinant to A, B, C, D, it is saying to us A determinant to A, it will contain A determinant to AB, definitely it will contain implicitly, and A determinant to A, B, C, it also contain. So if you're writing this dependencies, so this will be the by default part of this dependency. So you can't allow to write. Why you are writing? You can write, but why you are writing? So that is a point you have to keep in mind properly. Clear? See, here we have the A determinant to D. So A determinant to E we have, A determinant to D we have. So of course, see, but it is generated. It is generated from the two different function dependencies. So we can write over here. If you want to skip, then you can skip. But it is better idea to write all the function dependencies possible. So don't think, sir, it is already given inside this point. It is given, so we can skip. So A determinant to A you can write. You are allowed to write. You can also write, and A determinant to AB you can also write. A determinant to ABC you can write, but just let me know right now, how did you calculate the A determinant ABC? How did you calculate and how did you compute it? So there was no things available. So if the possibility is available, then we can write. It can vary only the two or three, but most of the variation we are having, so it means you are on going the wrong direction. A determinant to ABCD is also possible, but what are the rules you are applying? So at the time while writing the function dependency in the examination, you have to write properly, just like over here. A determinant to BC and B determinant to D, we are choosing these two function dependencies, and while applying the transitivity rules, we are getting the A determinant to AD. You have to write like this statement. So after applying the any one of the rules on the multiple function dependencies, then you can and you have to write. Not you can, you have to write. It's compulsory. What is the rule you are applying to get the new or computed functional dependencies? Justification should be proper. That was my point. You can do, but it can vary. But variation should not be having by the two more than two or three. If you're having, so there is some little bit. You are going to the right direction, but unnecessary you are writing meaningless. So there will be no sense. You can write. If you want to write, then you can write, I am accepting the answer, all the answer, because it is justifiable to the answer. But at that moment, you have to justify how you are getting. So B determinant to D, we can derive B, C determinant to CD. Why? So after applying the augmentation rule, so you have to write, after applying the augmentation rule, we are getting the B, C determinant to CD. So C is augmented at the both end. You have to write. So few statement you have to write while solving the question, because it is 10 mark question. So how you can get? So this is the point. Okay. So you will get a 10 marks on this condition. That was my point. Now clear? So far is it is clear to right now? A determinant to A B you can write, but from where you are getting, just let me know from where you are getting. So if you are proving me, if you are justifying this or A determinant to A B, I am getting like this one. So that is the point. Yes, of course, you can write A determinant to A B. We can get A determinant to A reflexive rule. We can get by this point. We can get also, and A determinant to B we are getting from the our decomposition rule from the A determinant to A B C, and from this perspective we can say A determinant to A B also possible. Yes, of course, you can write, but you have to write. You have to justify me. Okay, now clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is what actually this is the closure of the function dependency. Here I'm also sharing the some questions over here for a betterment, but I'm expecting the you have people are required to solve this question over here and tell me what is the expected answer you can get. So let me remove unnecessary point over here, and I'm expecting this is a question I'm sharing here, and yes, now you can use your paper and pencil to solve this question. Okay, so please use this point. You can use your paper pencil to solve this question right now and tell me, think. In this question, in a schema or relation, we have some attributes. Those are recognized by the B, B, C, D, E. So how many attributes we have? The 5 attributes. And we have some functional dependencies. So these functional dependencies is known as the F. This is known as the F. Okay, so I can write over here. This is known as the F. And which of the following functional dependency is not implied? Okay, so not implied. So please focus key point, not implied by the above said. So what you will do? You will use the each and everything properly. So CD determinant to AC. So first you have to check this one. It is lying or not. It is true or not. Okay. So CD determinant to AC. You have to check. I'm explaining only one. Then other part you have to check. CD determinant to AC. So you can say, sir, how we can check? Yes, of course, you can check. CD determinant to AC, how we are getting? So let me prove. CD. So CD determinant to E is given in the our this point. See, this is given, and from this point we can say we can write over here. So E determinant to A we can write, and after applying the transitory rules on these FDs, so we can get the CD determinant to A. Just tell me, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now this is your computed FD, and after applying the transitory rule on these two FDs, which one is computed and other one is given. So from this perspective, you will able to see, you can able to get CD determinant to C. Okay, now clear? Just tell me, is it clear? CD determinant to C we are getting. Just tell me, so far have you earned out? And after,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So see, I am just marking arrow. We are getting, and from this we are getting this. So after getting C determinant to C, this could be the one part, and this was already calculated to us. So after applying the once again the transitive rule over here, so we can get CD determinant to AC, it is possible. It means this would not be our answer. Why? It is having the dependency in our relation, but what we are having, which is not implied. So you can check this one, you can check this one, and you can check this one and tell me which is the correct answer. So start and tell me right now. Yes. Solve it and tell me which one is correct or which one is wrong. Solve it, solve and tell me. Yes, are you solving or not? So let me know right now. You are solving or not?
Yes, sir.
Solving, sir.
Okay, solve it and tell me right now. Okay, solve it. Anyone who have solved the questions? Just tell me right now. Anyone solve the question? So which is the wrong answer? Which is the correct answer? Just tell me.
Sir, there is a relation from AC determinant to BC. D is correct.
Uh, D is correct or B is correct?
D, sir, D is correct.
D is correct. It means that is not implied by the above said. So let me check about the D. AC determinant to BC. Okay, you are saying like this one. So AC we can say, yeah. So by applying the augmentation rule, we can say A determinant to BC is also possible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And if we're talking about the AC determinant to BC and C determinant to this point. So A determinant to BC and if we're trying to use
Sir, A determinant to B is given and A determinant to C.
determinant to
Both of them are.
yeah.
Both of
So
them
we
are.
are getting yeah. Okay. So A determinant to C. Yes, it is given. A determinant to A is given. A determinant to B is equal to A determinant. Okay. And CD determinant to E and BD determinant to B. So this one. So AC determinant to BC also possible or not?
Possible, sir.
Possible. So this will not be our answer.
No, this will be no.
This will not be. Yes, because it is also possible. And if you're talking about this point, next we have the BC determined to C. BC.
Sir,
Yes, tell me.
sir, in that I have confusion. Code BC is determined to CD given, and
CD.
CD
Yes.
CD determined to E in question given.
Hmm.
That means CD determinant to B
No,
because E.
no. You have to generate these FT and check it is feasible inside our relation or not. So if see, you are choosing like this one. See, B C determinant to D. We have to choose this FT from the given set of the FT. And now, after adding the augmentation of the C, you can see BC determinant to CD available. So it means this is a feasible solution. So this will not be the one answer because the question C2 is should not be implied. But it is implying the syllable, it is implying the region, but this will not be the one answer. It is very simple option. So after see, you have to choose any one of the functional dependencies to solve the question. You have to prove, you have to check it is lying in the relation or not. But it is lying, so we can't take. So this is the true. So this is the true answer we can say. This is the true we are getting, and this is the true we are getting. And the last one we have the BD determined to CD. So if we are using the BD determined to CD is not possible, you can also try. It's possible or not. Try and tell me, is it possible or not? And D is also so simple. Just do nothing. You want to check AC determinant to BC. So do nothing. Just use augmentation tool. Use augmentation tool to add a C. So AC determinant to BC is also possible. Okay. So this is true. AC determinant to BC is also possible by adding the C. So this would be a simple true. Let us check the BD determinant to CD. Is it available? It is possible to make the dependency or not. So let us check. BD determinant to CD. So you can observe over here. If I need to choose the BD determinant to D, so C I can add only, but both end I need to add only the same attribute. So this cannot be stand. If what is the other option I can choose over here? A determinant to B I can take. So A determinant to B I can take. So possibility I can have the A determinant to D. Okay. And if I'm choosing the A determinant to C over here, so by applying the augmentation rules, I can union rule, I can also have the A determinant to CD maximum. So CD is coming, but it is not easy to determine. So this would be our right answer. It means it has the false. It cannot be generated. You can try. I've already tried so many times. So this would be our right answer to showing the this functional dependency is not implying on the our relation or the given set of the functional dependencies. Okay, so now clear? Yes, tell me. Question is clear and answer is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have to apply the various axioms. Mostly we like to use decomposition, union, reflexive, transitive, augmentation. Just apply and just see them. Now after this point, answer we have already written. So BD cannot hold true. So this FD is no implied in FD set. So B is the required option we have. Other option we have already checked. So there will be no issue. Now, next question we have over here. Consider relation that is R A comma B comma C comma D. We have here. So with the functional dependencies 1, 2, 3, 4 we have. So in this case, what we have to calculate, that is a big question we have seen. We have to keep in mind properly. In this question, we are not trying to, I'm speaking once again, in this case, we are not trying to solve the closure of the function dependencies. In this case, we need to try to solve the closure of the attribute. Okay, so let me explain first point. Now, let us find the closure of the some attributes and attribute sets. That's the point we have to keep in mind. So, what is the notation? A notation I've already explained. Just put the plus symbol on the particular attribute. So that is also recognized by the attribute, such attribute closure. So A plus is our attribute is saying to us we need to find the closure of the attribute A. So A is basically is itself is an attribute, so definitely A will be the part of this one. I'm explaining this example in simple way so you can easily understand what I was expecting. So let me explain this thing in simple way so you can easily understand. Now, yes. So I need to choose the this point right now at closure of the attribute. So what I need to generate? I need to generate the A plus. A plus means closure of the attribute A. So A will be the definitely part of the its own attribute. So A will be the part of the particular attribute set. So I can write over here A. Okay. I'm solving this question here A. Okay, so you have to write the answer step by step, but I am explaining here, so I'm just writing in a single step only for understanding purpose only. A determinant to BC is given. So you can say A determinant to BC. So from this point, we can write A determinant to B also possible, and A determinant to C is also possible. It means both A and B, both B and C are the attributes that are depend on the A. So when we have any attribute which are depend on the particular attributes or closure of particular attributes to which we have to calculate the closure, then definitely these dependent attribute will be the part of the such attribute sets. So that will be by using this function dependencies, we can say B and C both will be the part of the our particular attribute sets. Now let us check the other part. Now A is already here, B is already here, C is already here inside the attribute sets. Now next we have the dependency BC determined to D. So from this point you will able to see BC is already available. So in the left side the any attribute which are already available, so its dependent attribute will be the part of the such attribute sets. I am speaking once again. On the left side we have the attributes which are available inside the attribute sets, then the dependent attribute will be the part of the particular attribute sets only. So BC is saying to us these depend on the BC, and BC is already part of the our attribute set, so D can include. And after this point we can say BC on the BC, D attribute is also dependent. So definitely in this case E will be the part of the our this case. Okay. And now after applying this point, D is already available inside our attribute set. So F is depend on the D. So definitely F will also be part of this one. Now CFG. So you can see C and F both attributes are the part of the C and F both are the part of the our attribute set. Currently we are working. So we can say G will also be part of the this attribute set. So this will be the what? This will be known as the attribute sets of the closure of the attribute sets. So these are the attribute sets A, B, C, D. So in the functional dependencies, what we have done, we have to find the functional dependencies and we have to write the answer in the functional dependencies. But in the case of the attributes, we have to write the set of the attributes which are making the dependency on the particular attribute or not. So that is my point. Okay, so now clear to all right now? Is it clear to all? Is it clear to all right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me explain one more this part. D. So D is will be the D plus we are calculating. So D will be the by default part of the this attribute set. Now let me explain over here. Any on the left side none of the attributes are part of the D. Yeah, this is only the one case where the only single attribute F will depend on the D. Here we have the A, here we have the B, C, here we have the C, F. But you can observe only the one relation, one FD, which is showing to that F is only the attribute that can depend on the F. So F will be the part of this one. So this is our answer. But here what we are doing, we are trying to find the closer set of the particular attributes only. But in the some cases, we can also able to find the closure of the attribute sets. So it is also possible. And how it can be possible? How it can be possible? We are not applying any mathematical model. Just you can use the multiple attributes to determine the you are pulling the closure of the attribute sets only. So we have this example. I'm explaining this example in different mode or different colors, so you can easily understand like this. So B and C. Okay. So B comma C, we can write over here in the curly braces, and this is the closure we have to need to find. So in this way, you can easily say B and C are the default attributes that would be part of the our closure. And now, what are the other attributes that can be depend on the B and C? So D and E are the attributes which are depend on the BC. So undoubtedly, D and E will be part of the part of the part of the these two attribute B and C. And now D is already available, but after seeing the next part, you can see F is an attribute which is depend on the D. So F will be the part of the D because D is already available. Now this after seeing this function dependency, now you are able to see G will also be applicable over here because C and F is already available here. So G will be the part of this attribute. Still, we should have a question, sir, why A is not a part of the this function dependencies. So you can also observe over here, is there an FDs? Is there an FD which is making to us the dependency? Just see and tell me right now why this is not a part of the function dependencies. A is not of the part of the function dependencies. Can anyone tell me?
Because A is not dependent on any other attribute.
A is not depend on the B, C, D, E, F, G. That's why A cannot be part of the this attribute sets. This is the brilliant answer you tell me. Yes, definitely. You're on the right. Yes. Okay. So this would be the one answer. So we are making with the one. Now clear? So this is known as the closure of the attribute set and nothing special. So now we have solved the problem based on the function dependencies. At the closure of the function dependencies, closure of the attribute set, and closure of the attribute set. Okay. Is it clear to all right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this problem I'm sharing to all right now, and tell me, out of these four options, C, F closure, BC closure, F closure, and AB closure. These are the four different closures are given the answer. Which one is false? You can use all these averages, AB determined to CD, AF determined to D, and D determined to F, and C determined to G, and F determined to E, and G determined to A. You can take 2-3 minutes to solve this problem.